Welcome to Vanished into the Night, where the shadows hide the stories that need to be told. I am your host, Karen Swanson, and each week I will dive into the chilling mysteries of missing persons and cold cases. Stories that refuse to fade into the darkness. These cases may have gone cold, but the truth is still out there, waiting to be uncovered. Today's episode is going to be based out of my hometown, Tenino, Washington. This is a cold case and a missing persons investigation as well. This is the story of Nancy Moyer. Nancy lived in Tenino, Washington, and was a mom to two girls, Amanda and Samantha. She was married for 10 years to Bill Moyer. They separated after 10 years of marriage on good terms. Before getting married and having the girls, Nancy graduated college and started her career at the Washington State Department of Ecology. The weekend of March 6th, 2009, the girls were at their dad's house. 2 days later, Bill came to Nancy's home to drop the girls back off, to discover the front door ajar and the lights still on. But Nancy was nowhere to be found. On the 6th, it was reported that Nancy had carpooled with a coworker back home and later that evening was seen at the local grocery store, Thriftway Market, also known to us locals as Dave's Marketplace. There was also a report that a Tenino police officer had spotted Nancy unloading groceries from her car between 9 and 9:30 p.m. The officer was near her home and said Nancy was alone when she returned to the house. This was the last time anyone saw her. According to the probable cause affidavit, there were two wine glasses, one sitting on the coffee table, her car keys were on the counter, her wallet and purse still in the home, and her car was still in the driveway. Detective Hamilton stated they swept both glasses for fingerprints, but the only ones on them were Nancy's. They also stated the only other object missing from the home was a brown jacket Nancy wore frequently. There were no signs of forced entry or any kind of a struggle. It's as if she just up and vanished. After being reported missing by her family, Thurston County Sheriff's Office began the investigation for Nancy's disappearance. They immediately ruled out Bill Moyer, as he happily and willingly took the polygraph test and had many comments that were positive from her side of the family. But after a few leads turned up, family and friends handed out flyers and offered a $55,000 reward, later raising it to $105,000 for any information leading to her return. Years later, Nancy's disappearance was ruled out as a no-body homicide, as the authorities are fairly certain she is deceased. This is according to an article newspaper in the Daily Chronicle. On August 8, 2010, 26-year-old Bernard K. Howell III was pulled over in Tenino, not far from where Nancy was last seen. In the passenger side of his truck was the body of Vanda Boone, 60, wrapped in a sleeping bag, sheet, and plastic. This is according to a probable cause affidavit obtained by Oxygen.com. It was reported that her throat had been slit, she had blunt force trauma to her head and neck, and she had been asphyxiated by either strangulation or something else. Following his arrest, police considered Howell a person of interest in Nancy's disappearance. Howell was a door-to-door meat salesman, and inside Moyer's freezer, police found the same brand of meat he had been selling. Sam had also picked him out in a photo montage as the man who had once sold Nancy meat. In an interview with retired Thurston County Sheriff David Howler, Howell denied any involvement in Nancy's murder or ever selling her meat. To date, no evidence has been linked to Howell about the disappearance of Nancy, and no further charges have been brought against him. According to King 5 News, in 2011, Howell pleaded guilty to Boone's murder and was sentenced to only 26 years in prison, which I think is ridiculous. Life in prison. In 2019, Nancy's daughter, Samantha, stated during a press conference 10 years after her mother's disappearance, quote, growing up without a mom sucks, especially when you don't know where she is, unquote. She also said she has struggled a lot over the years and is haunted by the thoughts of all the things in her life her mother has missed. Quote, she didn't get to see me graduate. She didn't get to see my first dance, me drive a car, any of that. I'm 19. It would help so much to find out what happened to her, unquote. On July 9th, 2019, authorities allegedly received a phone call from Eric Lee Roberts, confessing to the murder of Nancy Moyer. According to the probable cause affidavit, Roberts stated that he killed Nancy Moyer 10 years ago, and he felt tired of keeping it inside. He said Nancy was gone and that he did not think anyone would be able to find her. Roberts lived just a few houses down from the Moyers, and worked with Nancy at the Department of Ecology. His nephew, Aaron Huntley, had previously dated Nancy. However, Roberts was interviewed shortly after her disappearance. He was questioned about the relationship and late-night visits to his home from Nancy to see Huntley. He denied ever seeing or having her inside his home. Later, after Roberts' phone call, he met with detectives. They stated Roberts was clenching and unclenching his fists and wringing his hands. According to the affidavit, he and Nancy had a sexual relationship, and that Nancy allegedly attacked him and he attacked back. He claimed to have strangled her with a scarf, later burning it because, quote, it disgusted him to look at, unquote. Roberts allegedly told Thurston County Sheriff's officers, quote, it was never supposed to happen, and I don't want to incriminate myself any further, but if I was going to get rid of a body on my property, it would be right there, unquote. The next day, detectives went to Roberts, and he was arrested on suspicion of second-degree murder charges. Cairo 7 reported authorities began their search of Roberts' property, collecting evidence and testing and using an excavator to dig the wooded area. During the second interview with law enforcement, Roberts recanted his confession and said he didn't know why he told the police he killed Nancy. At a news conference on July 11th, Thurston County Sheriff John Snazza said Moyer's remains had not been found at the property. The prosecuting attorney's office has elected to delay filing any charges related to the homicide investigation until the investigation is complete and all the evidence can be fully considered, according to the sheriff's office. This came out after they released Roberts from custody. In an interview with the Hide and Seek podcast, Roberts said he did not remember confessing and that the medication he was taking could have affected his memory. Quote, I just have no recollection of that. I don't know what to think of that. I had nothing to do with her disappearance, unquote. Regarding the scarf that was allegedly used to strangle Moyer, Roberts claimed, quote, it was made up by authorities and it never fucking happened, unquote. Roberts said he was appalled and amazed at the lack of evidence and what he was going through. He continues to maintain his innocence in connection to Nancy's disappearance. It has now been 16 years since Nancy vanished into the night, and her daughter Sam is still working hard to find answers to find out what happened to her mother. If you know, see, or hear anything in regards to this case, or want updates, please go onto Facebook and look up the page, Where is Nancy Moyer? Ran by Sam. One day, I hope that our community, but mostly her family, gets the answers as to what has happened to her. All of the information given today will be linked below in the description. And that's it for the missing person case of Nancy Moyer. Until next episode, thanks for listening, and please, if you liked today's episode, remember to hit that like and subscribe button. Also, make sure to turn on your notifications for the next episode. If you have any suggestions on a case you'd like to hear about, drop it below. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe. Your support keeps these stories alive. Remember to stay tuned, stay vigilant, and most importantly, stay curious. Until next time, this is Vanished into the Night, where the missing are never forgotten.